check out the lights on the back of the seats down there. This thing's on the back of the seats, the swing.
I see it.
There's a steakhouse right there. There goes that helicopter tour. Where we went to.
You go sideways like that?
That's awesome. And it takes you way up there. Can you imagine the sunset up there?
East Coast. Be sure to have your cameras ready and take a moment to locate the north, south, east, and west markers above the windows so you know where to look. Gazing out over this thriving city, it's hard to believe that what you see began as lakes, wetlands, and palmetto prairie. But something about Orlando has always held a special fascination for dreamers who came from far and wide to make their visionary ideas reality. While today, most people know us for our theme parks and first-class hospitality, the story of Orlando and its legacy of dreams goes back thousands of years when the original wheel was the hot new tech. Okay, actually about 12,000 years ago, the first humans set foot in the region, now known as Central Florida. But unlike you, they didn't arrive to palm trees and sunshine. Would you believe that back then, Florida was frozen in a prehistoric ice age? These ancient nomads learned to live among the glaciers, making them the first Florida snowbirds. When the mighty glaciers melted, they created thousands of inland lakes. These new water sources drew many of Florida's indigenous tribes, like the Timucua and the Tocobaca, farther south.
Well, that's that
Centuries later, the Seminoles would inherit these tribes' ancestral lands after relocating to Florida from farther north. In 1513, Spanish conquistadors arrived in Florida, chasing dreams of eternal youth and expanded empire. These explorers found the temperate climate ripe for growing citrus and planted the region's first orange trees. Word of La Florida's abundance soon spread, driving more European colonization. By the early 1800s, few settlers had tamed the marshy Central Florida wilderness that was then part of Mosquito County. Besides a few lawless outposts and a Seminole tribe reservation, the area was largely unpopulated until 1845, when the U.S. Army established Fort Gatlin near modern-day downtown Orlando. Old legend tells us of a Fort Gatlin soldier who lost his life single-handedly saving the fort from an ambush. His name was Orlando Reeves. When his fellow soldiers buried him on the banks of Lake Eola, they carved his name on a tree to mark the grave. Some say this is where our city got its name.
I'm just trying to figure out where they were located.
In crowded northern cities to make their marks in Central Florida's young citrus industry. By 1875, the region had grown so much that it was incorporated into a city. Orlando was born, and soon a new wave of dreamers was knocking at its door.
3, 2, 1, ignition. Liftoff.
The 20th century ushered in an industrial revolution, opening minds to new spheres of opportunity, including the stratosphere. After World War II, the country's fixation turned to rockets. Orlando found itself at the center of space fever when aerospace giant Martin Marietta, later Lockheed Martin, established a plant here in 1956. This was a prelude to the influx of rocketeers to Central Florida just 2 years later, as part of NASA's Project Mercury, headquartered 50 miles east on Cape Canaveral. As early as the 1880s, Central Florida had a toehold in the tourism industry with a few quaint lakefront hotels. But the opening of the Walt Disney World Resort in 1971 thrust this quiet citrus town into the role of global destination, and Orlando never looked back. SeaWorld splashed onto the scene in 1973, bringing the ocean's wonders to Florida's heartland. And in 1990, Universal Studios added a little movie magic to Orlando with the opening of its first Florida theme park. Orlando's landscape has been shaped by a community of dreamers that continues to push the heights of our city's experience. Oh, and speaking of heights, in a few moments, you'll be at the peak of your own Orlando experience. So get ready, it's time to own the sky. exposition in Chicago, the Ferris wheel was a true innovation in engineering. The spinning behemoth was run on a 1,000 horsepower steam engine and could carry over 2,100 passengers at a time. The cabins were converted railroad cars, each outfitted with rotating chairs, so riders were literally at the height of comfort.
It's either Epcot or Disney.
Like its cast iron forefather, this wheel is supported by a cobweb structure of spokes, spindles, and hubs. When the wheel opened back in 2015, it was the second tallest attraction of its kind in the United States and the fifth largest in the entire world. But instead of steam power, the wheel operates on 14 6.6 kilowatt engines with a combined 123 horsepower. And rather than tricked out boxcars, its sleek fiberglass shielded capsules take inspiration from the streamlined ski lift cabs that scale the Alps. After 3 years of construction, the wheel took its inaugural flight on April 29, 2015. Of course, in true Orlando fashion, its grand opening was a real spectacle. All eyes were on Central Florida that rainy, windy morning as world-famous daredevil Nick Molenda attempted to board the spinning wheel without a harness. The king of the high wire braved the Florida weather and safely crested the 400-foot outer rim in a matter of 5 minutes, setting a world record for the greatest distance walked at the top of an observation wheel. Pretty iconic, right? But I don't recommend you try it. Of course, feats of daring aren't the only skyscraping spectacular the wheel has to offer. The wheel is programmed with 5 unique lighting effect sequences, and every night you can watch this big guy illuminate the Orlando skyline with its colorful light shows. Attention flyers! We are making our final descent into the wheelhouse, Icon Park's central gathering place. Icon Park offers a mix of attractions, restaurants, and shopping that's a cut above the usual. From high thrills to trendy chills, every speed of fun is on hand in Orlando's hometown playground. Inside the wheelhouse, you and your squad can take an in-depth look and discover something amazing, from sharks to clownfish, inside Sea Life Aquarium. If your lifestyle is glamorous, walk the red carpet on over to Madame Tussauds. I hear it's the place to hobnob with Hollywood A-listers, Hall of Fame athletes, and even world leaders. Tell them the wheel sent ya. And if you're craving more high-altitude thrills, we go right out of the wheelhouse over to the 450-foot Orlando Starflyer for a 60-mile-an-hour spin at dizzying heights. Does all that high flying have you hungry? Lucky for you, Icon Park has dozens of dining options, from light bites to full meals. Whether you're in the mood for burritos, burgers, sushi, or sweets, Icon's got your taste buds covered. And if you want to know where the party is, it's right here at Icon Park. When the Florida sun sets, we're just revving up for a night of bumping beats, sizzling eats, and some potent potables. And what better place to get a little buzz on than at 400 feet aboard the Wheel Sky Bar? If you're itching to cut loose country style, scoot your boots on over to Old Red for some twanging tunes, good home cooking, and irreverent fun, courtesy of Nashville superstar Blake Shelton. Attention flyers! We're approaching Wheelhouse Station. I hope you enjoyed your flight aboard the wheel. It's been a blast sharing with you the sights and stories of my home, Orlando. You're one of the family now, and if you took any cool family pics on your journey, be sure to tag them at Icon Park Orlando or hashtag Icon Park on social media. I hope you enjoy the rest of your time here in the City Beautiful or wherever your travels take you. Please gather your belongings and stand by to disembark. Until next time, flyers, so long and keep dreaming.